So I'm really thrilled. I'm, by the way, Ekin Yashin. I'll introduce myself too, but I'm the director of the program. Great to see everyone. I'll introduce who's here too. If we could stop maybe sharing the screen for just 1 minute so that I can show who's here to those who are participating. Annika, or Ella, if we could just stop the share for 1 minute. Great. Hello, everyone. Great to see you all. Again, thank you for taking time to talk to us and to get to know us. We really look forward to meeting many of you. I know I've been recognizing some names. Some of you have already agreed to join us, so we are happy to answer your questions about your upcoming year. But those of you who still have questions about the process and about our program, we're also here to answer your questions. I'm joined by an amazing group of individuals who are with us today, and I have with me from our staff, Whitney Bennett, who will be able to answer some of your questions also in the chat. Next year, Whitney will be one of your advisors who will help you navigate your journey in our program. Our Assistant Director of Academic Services, who you I'm sure heard a lot from, Heather Werkel, who guided you before the process, and who's also will guide you as you come into the journey too throughout your time with us at the program. And Liao Zhao, also you I'm sure have heard from or connected with, who's the head of our outreach of our program. And I'm also going to introduce them when time comes, but we have one very recent alum. So Khan, you're an alum, so but Annika, Ella, and Rafaela also joins us, who are basically representing perspectives of current or recent students. And they'll be able to answer your questions in the chat. And three of them will also come in and share a few thoughts at the beginning of the program. And then they'll also join you at the end at breakout rooms. So just so you know about the kind of plan for today, we have about a 25 minutes structured kind of overview from me and from students, from Heather, just giving you a couple key information about our program and about what we stand for, and I will review those for you. And then afterwards, we are going to open it to your questions. You can share them throughout the session in chat for anyone to ask questions. We're available. If they're quick questions, Heather or Whitney will answer them too as they come in. And then at the end, we want to dedicate about 15-20 minutes to a breakout room in small groups with our student ambassadors, student representatives, so you can kind of in smaller groups ask candid questions about their experiences, get to know them. They'll be in classes with you next year, so some of them will be in class with you next year. So again, you can dive deeper into that perspective as well. So we're here till about 7:15ish, all in all, for the entire program. And if we could share the slides again. So let's start, if that's okay with everyone. I'm Ekin Yashin. By the way, again, I am the director of the program. And for those of you who've already agreed to be a part of our amazing incoming cohort, I'm also going to be one of your instructors in the fall. I've been a long-term faculty member, teaching professor at University of Washington for over a decade, going towards my 2 decades at the university. And I am always thrilled at this juncture to meet new students and new community members. And again, today, what we wanted to do for you is my colleagues, I think Heather will share with you in chat, the recording we shared during our first round of admissions, and she just shared. Thank you, Heather, for doing so. And in that recording, you can find a lot of information we shared generally about the program. But what I thought we could do today is to give you some fresh information about upcoming classes for next year, some interesting events that we've done this year, some upcoming opportunities with your eye towards the upcoming autumn quarter, to give you kind of a sense of why us, why now. If we could go to the next slide. So again, I shared this a little bit in the first session too, but I wanted to start with something that I think really is important. Our program has been really future-proofed and really has been at the center of conversations for over 2 decades. As you all applied, that we are not a new program. We've been actually navigating various changes in job landscapes, in technology, in storytelling since the year 2000. So the program has been building on a legacy, and we have over, I think now at this point, 1,500 alumni, building on a legacy of a long-term program. And we've been examining how the field has been changing directly. It's been, we've been kind of guessing for a while as a program that really stands at the juncture intersection of storytelling and also communication and leadership and technologies, that what we actually hold true at our program is really relevant. And what we are hearing now also shows us that on the screen you're seeing a kind of a quick and recent conversation with Scott Galloway, who is a professor at New York University. He often comments about futures of work and upcoming trends. And he, amongst many also leaders in the field, have been commenting on how, amidst all these recent conversations about rise of artificial intelligence and other shifts in how we approach our work and technologies, storytelling is becoming, again, this is something we've been doing since 2000, one of the most valuable skills in tech, but also in other fields too. I'm sure you've seen this too in your kind of overview of what's going on in the world and how jobs are changing. Another bit on the right side is something that I reference and actually design my classes with. This is from World Economic Forum. They publish a report called Future Jobs, which you'll read the full report in the fall. Those of you who are enrolled in my class, all of you who actually are coming in will take that class with me. But one of the kind of also heartening skills, you'll see here a kind of a visualization of emerging skills on the upper right corner. You'll see core skills in 2030 that are kind of highlighted. And there you'll see many core skills that are directly in our area, from analytical thinking to system thinking to curiosity and lifelong learning to AI and data, which we also dive deep in resilience and agility, how we adapt to all these changes. Again, our program is, of course, skills-based, but we also take these core skills that make us understand the landscape we're in and allow us to lead in it really seriously. So I wanted to kind of share this recent data with you just to situate our conversation. If we can go to the next slide. I mentioned this in the first session during round 1, 2, and I mentioned this frequently. I'll mention this when you come to our program too. We're at a moment where all of us have to learn to analyze complexities. We live in a very complex world that have a lot of different changes that's going on, and that's global. That's not specific to one country or another. Our program has a very global approach in general, but actually that comes from the fact that a lot of changes we face, different streams of influence that impacts us, are coming from various places around the world. And we have at this moment, in conversation with what's going on, we all need an environment where curriculum and experiences respond to those changes. And we all need a community and also access to key individuals to make sense of it. So that's where our program comes in, I think, really strongly. If we can go to the next slide, I highlighted, and I will dive deeper into a couple of these now from examples from past few months from our program. Our program, again, is very much about making sense of complexities of our world with the most emerging tools and skills across a variety of fields, from content, communication, marketing, and design professions, but with a leadership emphasis that allows individuals to actually connect with us, to form communities and to make sense of changes in a holistic sense. Again, I mentioned all of these as a list last time, but I want to dive deep deeper into a couple of these key features of what we offer from our curriculum to who we give access to our applied learning opportunities by giving examples from a couple recent developments and upcoming courses as well. So if we can go to the next slide, let's start with the curriculum centered on analysis and critical reflection. That may sound abstract, but it is not. Actually, that's where we start our program with. In the fall, all of you will be enrolled in the required core common class of our program, which is Comm Lead 501 Leadership and Communities, taught by me, but also a team of faculty who will guide you as you think about some of the key skills that are shaping our world, core competencies that are necessary in global workplaces, and also how we prepare you to tell your stories and communicate who you are effectively. Again, our program is not one where we take our curriculum for granted. Each year, when I teach this program, I relate it to the moment, and we analyze key reports, key trends emerging from a variety of different fields to understand four core things actually that we've been examining across cohorts. The first one is how we respond to changes, adaptability, and what that actually looks like in practice. A lot of these things that you see here may seem abstract, but they are not. They're embedded in science, in practice, in actually professional endeavors. How we respond to a moment, how we make sense of change, how we build futures is very much in the wheelhouse of futures thinking, wheelhouse of those who do strategy. Many of you who are interested, I know, in marketing and communications are also interested in strategy. So we start by thinking about how we respond to a moment, right? The very first assignment is actually students building kind of a visual and communication policy document about how to navigate emerging technologies and also opportunities in a graduate program. So you kind of create that leadership document that you will do at organizations about how to approach tools and also resources, as well as thinking critically about what and when to use certain tools and technologies. We also dive deep in my class about how we engage with one another, how we build teams. We dive deep into the science. We just recently hosted here one of the world's leading experts from London, College of London, Colin Fisher, who writes a lot about what's the principles of collaboration. How do we build reflexive practices of collaboration that enriches our creativity? So after that, we dive deeper into how we solve problems and how we lead. But the structure of the class kind of gives you a sense of how we approach our program. We want to make sure that you have shared competencies, shared skills, but also a leadership core where you're also thinking about the key challenges of our time. The class also invites leaders of key organizations and thinkers who are writing key books for you all to engage in person and to also apply your thinking with them to kind of really understand and analyze this moment with as many tools as possible. So that's kind of the first part that I wanted to highlight. If we can go to the next slide, we also, beyond my class, of course, constantly update our curriculum. We have a lot of courses that return to our curriculum. Building Successful Online Communities is a course we've taught for many years in our program, taught by Dr. Mako Hill, who's an expert in online community building and how to kind of the communication and online media systems can be more successful, how we can leverage them to reach different ends. It has theoretical backgrounds, but it has also research backgrounds and applicability. It's an all-time favorite, helping you all to design, build, and improve an online community of your own choosing or that you're already working with. Another class coming up, it's a new class in the fall, is storytelling across mediums. And this class is going back to I started this presentation by saying how story storytelling is becoming again a subject matter where people are saying, storytelling is at the foundation of everything, even with AI. And this class very much looks at that through hands-on projects. You will develop and adapt stories across multiple formats while exploring narrative functions, commercial, educational, journalistic, and advocacy communications. So two types of courses. If we can go to the next slide. So to give you kind of a sense of the responsive courses that we have also offered in the fall. Of course, a lot of our courses, if not all of our courses, have a really well thought out thinking about AI, when to use it, when not to use it. Those choices are really important right now. We do not always have to use these tools, but we have to know these tools to navigate and to lead in this world. And we have topical many classes whose core subject matter is AI, but also classes that subject matter entitled may not have the word AI, also have, of course, embed considerations of it. For example, my class doesn't have the title AI, but we think with it. We think ways of engaging with it. We think ways of not engaging with it. We think ways of, again, making sense of it in a broader picture. But a class coming up taught by one of our core faculty members, Dr. Lara Bradshaw, is Conversational AI and the Future of Human Communication. This class will allow our students to experiment with AI technologies for writing, research, and design, but also reflect on challenges and not just opportunities. And by the end of the course, students will produce a proof of concept for a conversational AI solution, and also kind of think critically about cognitive, creative, and professional potential of these tools. So that's an upcoming class in the fall that I know will be popular, that we'll be offering also throughout the year as well. So just to give you a sense, if you could go to the next slide. Again, though, one of the core experiences of our program is not just in your classes. We have a lot of applied learning opportunities. As you will see, and I'm sure you may have heard, a lot of our students who are joining us today have been engaged with this initiative too. We have Communication Leadership Consulting, which is our applied learning arm. Alongside your classes, you actually work for money with real life organizations that are that have actual challenges that we, at any given quarter, we serve about 30 to 40 real organizations and give opportunities, again, paid opportunities to our students that supplement the cost of your studies. So an example of that is two of our students this very recently completed a project for Airlift Northwest, which is a Medivac service provider through UW Medicine, which is basically airlifting people who have medical emergencies. Junior and Pratika produced a promo video and audio and oral histories of people who've been kind of positively impacted by the services of this organization. Just to give you a sense of the types of projects, they worked on this project for 2 quarters and got real portfolio projects out of this experience. Our practicum classes and capstone classes also work with clients. You have that option too. Currently, actually, students who are in our Master Communication Leadership degree are in their capstone class quarter. I've just heard from our instructor, Dr. Lara Bradshaw, that there are many exciting projects. One student's making a comic book for elementary age students, supporting environmental literacy. Another student, just to give you 2 examples, is building an app supporting pet adoption. And another student is creating an interactive AI literacy guide. So there's a lot of applied learning and thinking happening in our program. If we could go to the next slide. Thank you so much. And beyond, of course, the class, one of the joys of our program is the community. We have so many different events that allow you to think with us and think with experts and ideas that are coming front and center in our field. In the fall, we'll be hosting a privacy conference with Microsoft on campus about impact of privacy policies on technology organizations, bringing both academic experts as well as experts from Microsoft, as well as our students coming together on our campus. So that's really exciting. And some of you may maybe become part of that conference coming up in the fall. We just hosted 2 weeks ago a first of a kind event, which we'll host again next year, called Future Lab, where students actual media and journalism professionals came together with futurists, where two of our faculty members held a session about future public media and groups of 8. I just shared this on my LinkedIn, and I'll share my LinkedIn profile on the chat if you want to take a look at it too. Created outstanding projects and competed for real organizations, leaders, the CEOs of all top public media organizations were also in the room, and people created. Our participants created 8 outstanding projects over the course of 8 hours, hackathon style. It was amazing. So that's one example. In Every We Hold also connects. We'll share also in the chat links to this year's Connects. It's an online learning event looking at key topics. This year, we discussed how professionals can engage with AI in an intentional fashion. Last but not least, if any of you are in Seattle area, I want to invite you all to Screen Summit. This is the showcase where our students are engaged in a friendly competition for cash prizes and trophies at the end of each year. So each group of students can participate twice with industry judges from Meta, Google, Expedia, just to name a few of organizations where our industry judges come from. And you will get to see stories, design projects, and strategies from students as judges evaluate them. You can also see and celebrate the end of the year with us and get a sense of us and get to meet us. If you're here, please come and join me next Friday and all of us to get a sense of what's going on in our program. If we could go to the next slide. So with that, again, I'm so thrilled to get to know all of you, and I'll be here. But I want to quickly turn it over to Heather Werkel now to give you a sense of upcoming deadlines and what's going to happen next before we dive deeper into your conversations. So Heather, I'm turning it over to you.
Great, thank you, Akin. Hello, everyone. You've gotten emails from me. It's nice to speak with you online here today. Just a few upcoming deadlines in the next couple of weeks that I wanted to make sure you're aware of. And some of these are options. One of them is not. So May 22nd, that's this Friday, that is the deadline to apply for the graduate school preparation program. And I will put that link in the chat as well for that. This is a program for international students. That's a 4-week program before your fall quarter begins, where you can get practice in doing research, presenting, also do some fun things, to get to know the Seattle area. But it's kind of an introduction to graduate school in the United States that a lot of our international students have found very valuable in the past. So if that's something you're interested in after you check it out, then keep in mind that deadline to apply is this Friday. Another deadline coming up, if you're planning to live in UW graduate student housing, the priority deadline is May 31st to be able to pick your room. And they mean literally like on a map, like I want to sleep here. Their specific room, not just a type. So keep that in mind if you're planning to live in graduate student housing. Make sure to apply by May 31st so you can have your selection of where you want to live. And then final deadline I want to mention is to accept your offer. If you've already done this, congratulations, welcome. We're glad to have you as part of the cohort. But for those of you who are still deciding, haven't done that yet, make sure you accept your offer by paying that enrollment confirmation deposit by June 1st. That's the deadline to do that. Or we really appreciate it if you've decided not to come here, if you actually decline your offer in the system. Otherwise, we have to do that manually for everyone. So keep in mind June 1st. And then I'll let you go to the next slide. This is just, this is all available, by the way, on the Getting Started page of your Comlink New Student site, which I put the link in the chat previously. Just upcoming deadlines and things you'll need to take care of. So as I mentioned, June 1st, the deadline to accept or decline your offer. And then once you've accepted, if you decide to join us, you will have some steps to enrollment that these will display on your application portal. And they're also listed on our Getting Started page on your SharePoint site. And this includes submitting your official transcript, documentation for the immunization requirement, completing your I-20 application if you're an international student. And then there's a couple of required training courses that all new students need to complete. We will be having pre-registration advising sessions June 15th through 18th. So that first week of June, I'll be sending information out about how to sign up for those. And that will give you a chance, a small group to meet with me or Whitney to talk about the classes that you have available to you in the autumn, how the registration system works, just give you a brief overview before your registration opens. And you will register for classes June 22nd at 12 a.m. So right when it flicks over from Sunday to Monday, Seattle time, that is when your registration opens for fall classes. And then, you'll get signed up for classes that day. New student orientation, still in planning stages, so specific dates and info TBD, but that will be in late September. And then your autumn classes begin September 30th. So those are the next steps I wanted to go through, and I think I will turn it back over to Ken now.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. So we are going to move into a more exciting, not more exciting, not that we were not fun to get to know, but I think a highlight of our program is our community. And what I'll ask Ella or Annika is after I introduce our students to basically, we'll stop sharing the screen and I'll highlight those who are going to join me. But what I want to do is introduce you to the 3 student ambassadors and two student ambassadors, one recent alumni in our program who I gotten the joy of knowing, of course. And they are going to join us and they're going to join you in the breakout rooms afterwards. So before we go to that, again, with us is Comm, Annika, and Rafaela. I want them to, maybe we could start with them introducing themselves very briefly to us by way of their degree. And also, maybe if you are engaged in the program in some way, because a lot of our students actually work with our program or engaged in different initiatives that I mentioned earlier. I know so all of you are that way. So I just want to also mention that. But let's maybe stop sharing the screen and have us all on the screen so that everyone, great. Thank you so much. Hello, Annika, Rafaela, Khan. It's so wonderful to see you. If you could just introduce yourself in your own words briefly, maybe we can start with you, Annika.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Annika Yao from China, and I'm a current Cohort 25 MCDM student. So in my undergrad, I was from CUHK Shenzhen, and my major was marketing and communications. So outside of my course, I had quite a lot branding, content marketing, and also social media related intern experiences. So I'm very glad to see everyone here.
Thank you, Annika. Khan, maybe you next.
Hi everyone, I'm Khan and I recently finished the Comm Lead program in the MCDM track, and I also currently work within Comm Leads across communications, outreach, career programming, and also student engagement. So I've gotten to experience the program both as a student and also behind the scenes supporting the community.
Thank you, Khan. Rafael?
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Rafaela. I'm also from Cohort 25 as Annika, and I'm also engaged in our program in different ways. I'm now the current outreach manager of the consultancy team, where I'm getting to practice like my skills in a real professional world. I'm having contact with different clients, and yeah, I think this is amazing because I'm from Brazil and I have experience working there, but this is my very professional experience here in the US. And it's all because of the program. It's a very like professional, the professional approach of our program is different from like different programs that I was searching before like joining the Comm Lead, and it was definitely something that made me decide to join this program.
Thank you, Rafael. And maybe that's a good segue to my question to you all. Again, you will all be divided into smaller groups with our fantastic recent alum and current students, and ask them questions in a smaller group. But and then we also want to before I ask them one question, just to familiarize you about their kind of decision making and their process. Please ask us questions in the chat. After this, we'll about 15 minutes or so of shared Q&A, and then after that, we'll move on to the breakout groups in smaller groups with our student ambassadors and student and alumni ambassador. So, Rafaela, thank you very much by starting with that kind of, I think seeing some things as you were making a consideration of your graduate degree. Deciding on a graduate degree is a really important decision because it's a part of our identities, a part of our core experiences. So, all of you were in the place that those of us who are joining us, our incoming students, were a couple of years ago for UConn, and Annika and Rafael just very last year, right? So how did you make the decision? I like asking you, like, what drew you into this program? How did you make your choice? Maybe Annika, again, we can turn to you and.
Sure. So for me, and also like last year this time, I was also deciding between offers. I also got offer from like DU and Johns Hopkins, and they're also very great offers. But I would say Comly was the last program I applied, and also last offer I received. But I think it's just the right program for me to go, and I would say that like in the conclusion, I came to here, and it's already my third quarter here, and I feel it's even like better than my expectation. So I think like for Comly, because it's UW and also it's in Seattle, so you know that like the location is a very important element when we're making the decisions. And also I would like to say like Comly has a lot of resources, and also as Ik mentioned, we have applied learning resources, opportunities for me to explore. So I was marketing major, but I want to both dive deeper in marketing and also explore something new. So for now, I'm doing video storytelling here, and I feel Comly is always being so supportive to give us like so many practice experience and choices and opportunities for us to have all of these chances to practice and to have the chance to really have the collaboration with real clients. So I think it's a very valuable decision and opportunity for me to come here. And I'd like to say like my experience here is excellent.
Thank you so much, Annika, for your thoughtful response. And Khan, what about you? How did you dive into that process and make your decision?
Yeah, so when I first heard about Calm Lead, it just really felt future focused and applied. And I was looking for a program where storytelling, strategy, technology were all part of the same conversation, basically. And honestly, one of the things I appreciated most about Calm Lead was how interdisciplinary the environment was. And outside the classroom, it's a program that really pushes you to get involved in career initiatives, just pushes you to get involved in general. And for that reason, it gave me a lot of hands-on experience, and it just helped me grow professionally. Um, and eventually, Calmly became more than a graduate program. It became a place where I could build real experience, meet incredible people, and just grow a lot personally and professionally.
That's fantastic to hear. Thank you, Khan. Rafael, you started going into this a little bit, but if you could just share like about that decision-making process, what did you take into consideration, how you landed on what you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I took two different things in consideration. First, as I mentioned, the career approach of the program. If we see like the list of our professors, we're gonna like realized that they are all from like the most important companies here in Seattle, and getting to know them and also getting to have like hands-on experience, like real professional experience, and getting their feedback. It's really important because they know what the market needs. So of course we have to develop those skills needed to be able to work here. Because I'm from Brazil, but I moved to Seattle. So like the networking part and this career approach was really important for me. But secondly, my whole experience was in more like traditional kind of marketing. So I was also looking for something that could like build like my technology and my AI literacy. And through this program, I'm not only learning like the foundation of communication and marketing, which is of course the most important part, but also learning different tools that right now are really important to adapt to this new environment that we all have been like adapting to. So yeah, those two things were like the most important things that made me decide.
Thank you, Rafaela. And again, thank you, Khan. Thank you, Annika. And you're going to talk to more. I know we're having a lot of questions from our students already, but you're also going to get to ask some of the questions, and again, in a more intimate breakout groups in just a minute. Again, I'll turn to you all too, if it's okay, Annika, Khan, and Rafaela, if one of our participants and incoming students have questions directed to you, if that's okay, in the quick Q&A. So let's dive into the Q&A for the next 10 or so minutes. I am going to also highlight here Heather too, and we will just have quickly dive into the questions. And again, I'm just going to remove our students spotlight for now, but I'll add you back in as we dive into your questions too. The first question is from Yuan. I know that you started, you were engaged in the chat about if students can register for classes before submitting required documents like immunization or I-20.
Yeah, and I wanted to answer this live because there's a little bit of nuance here. So when it comes to applying for the I-20 or submitting immunization, those are entirely separate from registration. So you can do that. The I-20, I definitely recommend applying sooner rather than later because that can take a while for some countries, but it is not connected in any way to registering for classes. As far as immunization and your degree verification, those are also requirements that you can fulfill anytime by the start of winter registration, which is in early November, with one exception. If you are using a US degree or a degree in English to meet the English proficiency admission requirement, then that degree has to be verified, that transcript submitted and verified by the graduate school before registration in order for you not to have to sign up for English classes when registration opens. So if you're graduating this spring, just keep that in mind, that if you can't provide proof of your degree yet, and if that degree is meeting the English proficiency requirement, then you might have to initially sign up for an English class, and then you'll be able to drop that once your degree is verified. So that's the one exception.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you, Yuan, for your thoughtful question. Next, we have a question from Chase. And maybe, Heather, you and I can both answer this because Chase asks us if there's a recommended order of coursework. For example, is it recommended to take the law and ethics elective earlier or later in your coursework? I'll start answering this from my perspective as an instructor and a director, and I'll turn it over to Heather, and also Whitney's here too, who are two individuals. You'll ask these questions live every quarter, right? They're there to think with you to make sense of this journey within our community. So everyone who starts the program in the fall has to take 501, which is again a very engaged class, and your only opportunity actually to take a class as an entire cohort, because our cohorts are large. The rest of your classes are about 20 or so people. And in terms of the kind of order of classes, that's really particular based on which degree you're part of. We will be all working with you to create, but there's no necessarily order in which we ask you to craft the journey. However, and Heather, correct me if I'm overemphasizing this or underemphasizing this, but for those of you who are communities and networks track and communities and communication leadership degree, which is our longer degree, you will have a number of courses that are going to happen quarterly where you'll take it with your cohort. Particularly, for example, for a communication leadership degree, those of you who are going to do a capstone project in your second year, you'll have a whole sequence of courses. So our very, very experienced advisors will work with you to make sure that you meet those core classes or degree-specific classes alongside the ones you want to take. You'll have ample opportunities, of course, of choosing your courses and your electives too. But Heather, I hope I said everything right, but I'm turning to you to correct me.
Oh, that was great. The one thing I would add is that, yeah, you can complete your law and ethics or your research methods requirement at any point during the degree. My biggest piece of advice there is don't wait till the end. Because you could end up where, like, it's your final quarter. If you haven't met one of those yet, you might only have one choice. Yeah. And then nobody wants to just take the class that they have to. You'd rather have an option on which class you choose for that requirement. So that's a reason to take it earlier in the program once you see a class that comes up that meets that requirement that's really interesting to you, so you don't leave it to the end and just have to take whatever's being offered that quarter.
Thank you, Heather. And again, we have tons of questions, so I want to kind of go through some. If they're quick to answer, I see that we answered some of them. But and then to some others, I'll say you can ask also. I know that there's a kind of a question about how to support your experience in program financially. That's a great question to ask. One in smaller groups also with your peers. But one question was about if there are jobs and internships available that are exclusive to CommLead students. We actually, Khan is one of our core members of our community who does that. We have under Airtable platform curated jobs that are passed on by our alumni and in our community. That's curated for you. That's published and refreshed and shared with you weekly, but you can access it at any given time. There we have, again, internships. So those could be from people who are former alumni, former students or alumni who are hiring. Our consulting program is exclusive to our students. So those who have those opportunities are only CommLead students. And then also adding a layer to that is we have a job, kind of a career fair with organizations too, where you have informational interviews with alumni as well as meet with different organizations that are hiring. That's in addition to many, many of those in person and online that's happening at the UW at large, which you'll have access to. We also host specific ones for our program too. Actually, this year we held a career month. We had about Khan was in charge of many of this with Liao, but I don't even know how many events we ended up doing. We had multiple career development events, informational interviews, a career fair. I can immediately think of 7 events we've done, but I think we may have had even more in the span of 1 month. So those are all only available to CommLead students. So those are kind of gives you a sense of the scope of all the things that you can do in the program. There's a question here about mid-career experiences. I want to see if any of our students want to jump in, or Heather and I can jump into this too. But for a mid-career professional returning to academia after a break, Ridi asks, how can one best leverage the program to bridge existing expertise with emerging skills and industry expectations? Are there particular opportunities, courses, or experiences you'd recommend prioritizing? I can start, but then if anyone wants to unmute, please unmute. I will turn to you too. But I would say I have worked in my now almost a decade at the program with so many amazing mid-career students who were working already or took a pause and came back to school to figure out their next steps. There are different ways that they leverage the program. If they were working in an organization, they pointed some of their learning and used their organization as a case. Some of our program students have actually really leveraged our leadership courses alongside various skill courses to leverage their expertise. Some of them have started their own businesses or grown their own businesses within the program by having access to a really rich and vibrant network that has access to various leaders in our region. So in terms of opportunities, we have tons and tons of networking events with alumni, mentorship opportunities, and as well as many other kind of events where you dive into key topics like navigating ambiguities. Or just recently, we've during our career week, we had one where one of our alumni who's worked in various organizations, including Microsoft, Starbucks. She's now has launched her own company. She's a faculty member as well as an alumni. And she offered a session about how to navigate when you're in a team and many of your teammates are laid off, and how you navigate that situation whilst you remain in the organization. So we have also a lot of these high level candid conversations. If you're an early career student, we have a lot of conversations for you and ways of making sense of it. But if you're a mid-career professional too, we have very many ways for you to elevate your experience, and our faculty work with you one-on-one too. So I just want to mention that very quickly. Is there anyone else who want to jump in on this question quickly to share one or two opportunities? Or Heather, if you want to say something. Rafaela, I saw you unmuted. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think can be considered like a mid-career professional that returned to university to study. And I would say because our industry, like marketing and communication, has been changing like so fast. I think it seems like it is a completely different course than when I studied marketing like more than 10 years ago. So yeah, and also like when I started looking for a job here in Seattle, I also realized that I had to like update my knowledge, especially more like towards digital marketing, but also artificial intelligence. So this program definitely, I've been very intentional, like in which classes I'm taking to update my knowledge, but also to know people like from different companies, because this is another thing that we have to take into consideration, like not only the class, but also the professor. Uh, yeah, so for me, like it has been really important when I'm talking like with my friends, for example, and they ask me, "Oh, what are you feeling? Because you are not working right now." Actually, I started working, but when I wasn't working, and I told them, "Oh, you know what? I might be learning more like in such a short period of time than when I was working in Brazil."
Thank you, Rafaela, for your perspective too. And again, that's a great way to, there are different ways to navigate the program. It's a very interpersonal program. You will have support of us, support of your peers, support of your alumni, support of our outstanding staff. So we customize and think with you about how to leverage different experiences as well. One final question, I'll jump here, and then maybe we can dive deeper into conversations at the breakout sessions. And then if anyone wants to also remain here, continue asking us questions, or as we're wrapping up after the breakout sessions, we'll be happy to do so. One question about along the lines of how to, if people want to work in film or television and in their intersection of AI and narrative, do we have courses in that? We have a really robust storytelling curriculum. It's not just about the techniques, but about the core foundations of the skills, from documentary filmmaking to filmmaking for organizations to advanced classes that are geared towards clients to, again, across platform storytelling. But then to your question, actually, we also have a visual storytelling course that looks at comics as a form of storytelling tool. Students from that class with others actually just formed a narrative writing group where they're kind of writing together scripts and pitching it to alumni. So that's a really recent student group. And again, we have a big community, so there are along different professional interests. I'm sure everyone will find different communities to think with. So with that, I just want to... Oh, go ahead, Heather.
I was just going to say, I'd say two questions in here that have very quick answers, so I can
Oh,
answer
great.
those for everyone very quickly. For international students, what is the latest allowed arrival date in the U.S.? In order to not encounter problems at the border, I recommend arriving no later than the day before the quarter starts. So that's September 29th. Because they'll be checking your start date on your I-20, which is September 30th. Although if you did that, you would miss orientation. So definitely recommend getting here earlier
Which
than
is
that, so you
required.
can yes, so you can attend orientation. But if something crisis happened, September 29th would be the absolute latest. And then the other quick question was, what is full time for the master's program? Full time status is 10 credits per quarter. So that's typically going to be 2 classes. Most of our classes are 5 credits.
Thank you so much for quickly answering and catching those questions. And again, thank you all for your questions too, and for your thoughts.